You know what the light is like. So you can teach people what the light is like. Searching, they're very lost. To be weapons of mass creation.
What's up, guys? I have an extremely special interview for you guys today with Mr. Joel Brown, founder of addictedtosuccess.com, right around 200 million views, the #1 motivational site on the internet, which is incredible. You are featured in the Think and Grow Rich movie and one of the stars, which is incredible, and this new movie coming out with Richard Branson, the Dalai Lama, Tony Robbins. Amazing what you're doing. But not only that, you have this event called Elevate coming up with Emil Steenfeld and Gerard Adams and all these incredible entrepreneurs, which I'm attending, which is going to be amazing. So thank you so much for doing this interview. And guys, we're going to be right back with the content. All right, guys, so this is such a special interview because Joel has been such a huge inspiration for me in my life, and I have been just following what you've been doing for so many years. I've learned so much from you. It's just like actually an honor to be doing this interview right now. So I'm so excited to share some of this wisdom that I've gleaned from you with the audience and allow you to just tell some of your story, tell how you have been able to create such a successful business, but also just a successful, balanced life from the place you came from, you know? So it's not like it was always like this. So I would love it if you could just tell your story, let people know like where you were. And it's actually really rare these days that I run into people who haven't heard of you or haven't heard of your story, but I'm still sure there's some people who haven't. So I'd love if you could tell that again.
Thank you, brother. Hey, thanks for having me here, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm super pumped to share
For sure.
my words of wisdom with your audience. You know, I heard you use the word balance, successful, balanced life. And I like that you brought that up because I want to lead it into something that I feel is really important. And, you know, it's this thing where I used to want to always live a balanced life. And I think the balance is really running and trying to spin plates, right? And a lot of people nowadays think that that's success. The truth is that that's not success. Harmony is success because everything is touching everything, right? So it's like, how do I develop a life where my fitness, where my health, my relationships, my fun and leisure, my career, my wealth, like how is it all feeding into each other, right? In order to be able to elevate, right, to the next level. And so I think that I spent probably the last 6 years out of the last decade while I've been doing this whole online thing and coaching thing and speaking thing. The last 4 years, I've really started to master this whole harmony thing. And you know, there's so many people out there that are chasing the shiny objects. There's so many people out there that haven't defined success for themselves. I call it chasing freaking unicorns, right? Or they're stuck in the paper prison. It's just about the money and that's their motivation, but they haven't found what actually inspires them from within, which lights them up from within. Being inspired means to be in spirit. And I know this for sure because 10 years ago, I casted a 10-year vision with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. I was in Perth, Western Australia. And I was sitting in my corporate ivory tower doing sales calls and trying to make my way up the corporate ladder, and I realized that I was feeling empty. And I was obsessed with learning personal development. I was obsessed with learning how to do sales. I was fascinated in human growth, and it led me down this path of really getting clear that day with Jordan Belfort in the room on how to really cast a 10-year vision. And this is the first time I ever heard of this concept of actually visioning, feeling it on a cellular level, getting excited about where the ultimate version of you 10 years from now could be. And, you know, I connected writing down goals as schoolwork, and I hated school. I actually dropped out of high school. And so for me, it was really pairing up what I was good at, what I loved, and what solution I really wanted to bring to the world. And at that time, 10 years ago, I loved self-development. I love the idea of building a business. To me, that sounded like a sport. It sounded exciting to me, and it still does. I was good at computers. I was great at networking. I used to work in the music industry. I used to be really good at networking and creating deals and negotiating value for value. And then the thing that I really wanted to bring in a way of a solution to the world was to be able to share things that I'd learned. And I love teaching, you know, so I paired them all together. And that was the day that I birthed the idea of addictedtosuccess.com. And I just went out on a relentless pursuit for success and really just focused on creating epic content. I had no shame around asking for what it was that I wanted, because I was so clear in my vision on what I needed to do in order to build this empire that wasn't just for me. And that's the key. It can't be just for you. It's got to also involve other people too. And I really was about building a team. I was about building a movement around Addicted to Success. I was about creating content that would inspire millions of people, and we set out to do that, and we made that happen. So,
man,
but that didn't happen overnight.
No, and we are going to dive into that in a second, because there's a lot of principles, mindsets, ways of being able to become more influential internally and externally.
Yeah.
But you also came from a background before that, which was, you know, a snake catcher or a kangaroo catcher or whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's the pictures of it. I'll screenshot it right here. That, you know, how were you doing that? And then what happened to break you out of that? And because I know for me, when I was younger, I never really knew like entrepreneurship or new business or new whatever, because my parents weren't really like that, and I never really got exposed to it. But there was always just something inside of me that said, like, I'm gonna figure something out. And I don't know if that meant, like, I didn't even know what that meant. There's something in my brain that always, I'm gonna figure something out at some point. Like, what was it for you?
You know, I was blessed, and I would say, blessed enough. At the age of 7 years old, I remember watching this movie, Space Jam, with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. You know, and that was the first time I ever felt lit up from within. I felt inspired to do something big. And I went to my mom. I was like, hey, Mom, I want to be able to play basketball like Michael Jordan. I want to be great at that. And it inspired me so much. And so she said, well, look, you've got to learn from him. And I was like, well, I don't know him. She's like, yeah, but you can learn from him through books. So, you know, I've got to say my mom definitely has been such a massive support of my success. She might not always understand what I do, but she's always found like opening doors and entry-level things for me to be a part of, so that I can, you know, then expand. And I know not everybody has that opportunity, but you can learn from this, and the answers are there. You know, the clues are already there. There's people that have achieved success that can teach you what mistakes they made so that you can avoid that, and then also people that can teach you strategies and ways that they've been able to do it. And I just learned from a very young age that you got to surround yourself with great people that, you know, you don't just focus on your weaknesses, you focus heavily on your strengths. You can also practice within your weaknesses to up level. This is all the things that Michael Jordan would talk about, you know, and he would always talk about practice. Practice. You look at someone like Kobe Bryant, same thing. Kobe Bryant was watching and studying Michael Jordan tapes to the point where he practiced so much that he would literally like move by move do the same kind of shots that everybody else in the NBA was struggling to be able to pull off. You know, so I learned at a very young age that it's about practice. I didn't feel like I had many limiting belief thoughts. A lot of it was opportunity-based thinking. A lot of it was growth mindset. A lot of it was like, well, I want this to happen, so what do I need to do to make it happen? I came from a creator's mind so often, and I never knew that's what it was at the time. Like in retrospect, looking back at it, I'm like, oh, that's what I did, knowing what I know now. But honestly, like when I work with clients now, when we're at our, you know, Elevate events and workshops, whenever I hear somebody say, you know, why me, or you know, life's so tough and I'm stuck here, I always ask, well, what are you going to create, or what are you going to do different in order for something to change? You know, your thought needs to be more powerful than the emotion of fear, the emotion of judgment, the emotion of you know, stress, the emotion of I'm not good enough. It needs to be more powerful than that in order for you to override it and create a change. Otherwise, you're going to stay in your emotion.
Which is so interesting, because you know, we're just biologically kind of wired for a time that no longer exists, right? So a lot of our a lot of our feelings of fear and all this stuff are like there for a good reason. They helped us survive in the environments we evolved in. You know, but now, you know, we're scared to start businesses. We're scared to get on a stage. We're scared because, if you got on a stage back in the day or in front of the tribe, maybe you would like get freaking ousted from the tribe. Maybe, and if that happened, you're done, you know? So there's all these like really deep-seated fears we have that are just like ghost stories from the past that no longer actually exist the same way. So they hold us back because they are real feelings, but they're real feelings to something that we shouldn't fear the way we're feeling the fear. And then there's some people who are just more focused on the vision and how like strong that is, and that pulls them into the future versus that like fear where it's like pushing them away from it.
Yeah.
So like that's a really interesting thing that I guess you didn't have a lot of that, but you were able to dominate your mind with the right thoughts.
I would say, you know, I was brought up in an environment where it was supportive, which helps. I know a lot of my clients I coach, this was the thing, and I want to bring this up with you. I think it's so important because I hear people say this. One time I got up and I spoke at an event in Santa Monica, California. I don't think I've even shared this before. And I shared that I was in a relationship and it fell apart, and then I went my separate ways. I was in a marriage and I ended up getting a divorce. And I got bullied in high school, right? Now, I shared this story and I had some people come up to me after. They're like, man, that's so moving, that's incredible. And one guy said to me, hey Joel, I'm so inspired by the story you shared because I've always felt like my life is like great and there's nothing, like no rock bottom moment or anything like that I could share.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, man, I felt like that up until I was about 16 when I started getting bullied.
Yeah. You
know, until I had this massive like fight and my life at the time felt like it was falling apart. Everything's huge when you're, a kid growing up. And I said to him, but the thing is, you've got to look at it like this too, is like, yeah, you might have a pretty cushy life, but you know what the light is like. So you can teach people what the light is like. It's not so much about like, well, you have to always connect with them because you've been in the darkness that they've been in. It can at times help, and I know that because there's certain things I can talk about with people that feel more comfortable to share. At the same time, there's definitely things I've been able to support people in breaking through when I've shared with them the light of what's possible. And this is why we keep going back to creativity, right? Like, what can you create? I want everyone around me that I coach, that I teach, that I support, that I mentor to be weapons of mass creation. You know, like it should just always be like, yeah, I know I'm going through this shitty thing right now. Yeah, I know that, times are tough. Yeah, I know that, my girlfriend or my boyfriend dumped me. Yeah, I know that, my kids are just a pain in the ass right now. But it's like, what can I create in order to make my experience here today different?
Yeah.
Like you can stay in the past, and the past can be great when it comes to pain to push you, but you don't want to live there. You don't want to stay there. You want it to bump now and then, right?
Yeah.
You want the vision of a future to pull you forward, and you also want to get excited in this moment. It's like, what can I presently work with that I have surrounded by me? What resources do I have within me and around me to make whatever it is possible? And it doesn't have to happen right now. It doesn't have to happen. But at least the game plan should keep you excited about what's to come. Most people don't have an exciting vision. They don't have something that wakes them up in the morning going, yeah, hell yeah, I want to make this happen. And then like pees them right off because at bedtime, they've got to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like that's how I used to feel when I started Addicted to Success. I was frustrated to go to bed. I was like, I don't want to go to bed. I want to keep working on the dream. When I got up, man, I jumped out of bed. Like my feet were on fire, man. I ran straight to it. I was working on it. I was making calls. My vision was so grand and so colorful, and it was so alive, and it was already
I love
inspiring people
that,
around it.
Because
it already was inspiring people because most people don't have a vision.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting on the sidelines going, oh, this guy's great. Oh, this is awesome. This is really cool. The world parts, man. Trees bend. People move out the way. People come to that need to come to when you have a vision and you're like, we're going to make this happen.
Yeah,
Look at someone like Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Half the time that guy didn't even actually have that thing created, but he's like, we're going to do this. Elon Musk, we're sending people to the moon. He hadn't even like created anything yet to be able to do it. And everyone was like, we're jumping on board. He was attracting some of the most craziest talent in the world
because
to work with him because of the vision.
Damn.
And part of being an entrepreneur too is like, obviously you want to stand in your congruency and you want to be a man or a woman of your word, and you try your best as often as possible. It's great and excellent, not perfect because perfect doesn't exist, but great or excellent. But at the same time, it's like you're never going to know until you get a start. You're never going to know until you get your SWAT team together to be able to kick ass and make this thing happen and to become this weapon of mass creation. It's got to start somewhere, and it starts with the vision. Everything happens in the theater of the mind first.
Man, but the way you described it is a way I've never heard someone say it, which is your vision needs to be alive and colorful. And there's a big difference between seeing a vision of like, oh, I see this kind of picture of what I want versus a colorful, alive movie in your mind that is like a living organism that now like almost like infects your mind to the level where you can't even resist it, you know? And like when you were saying that, I'm like, this weapon's of mass creation. Like, how could you actually be that weapon of mass creation if you don't have that infectious, like, I need that vision feel?
Must be sexy.
Yeah.
Sexy-licious. It needs to be so sexy that you're like, man, I want this all day, every day.
Yeah.
Whenever, wherever. Like, that's the thing about the vision. And the thing, too, is, like, I've just rehearsed it so many times in my mind, you can't tell me anything otherwise.
Yeah.
It's just, and I've seen it unfold. And the thing is, so many people don't commit to it or even commit to getting more detail in it because they are scared that they're going to stuff it up, right? There's some running limiting beliefs that we have. I'm not good enough. Like I don't deserve that vision. Even if it's 10 years from now, who says to you that you can't deserve that vision? No, if every time I've shared my vision, someone hasn't come to me and going, you don't deserve that vision. You don't deserve it, Joel. No one's ever said that to me. I've had to believe that I deserve it first in order to get it, right? And then the fear of being judged. Man, that vision came to you for a reason. It's yours. It's not anybody else's. There's a reason why most people don't understand your vision, because it's not meant for them. You're the one that's meant to fulfill it.
Yeah, so why would you worry about the rejection? Yeah.
Exactly. But there'll be people that get parts of your vision. They don't have to get the whole damn thing, but they're like, oh, I get that, and I want to support you in that.
Yeah, because maybe that can also connect to part of their vision.
Exactly. And that's what I want. That's why I'm writing this book right now. It's called Never Settle: How to Master Your Extraordinary Vision. And dude, I'm telling you, I'm pouring literally a decade of knowledge, wisdom, experience, structures, frameworks, concepts, testings, experiments, everything that I put into it over the last 10 years into this, because the vision piece is this undeniable thing in my life. And I've over 400 people directly that I've sat down with and worked on their vision, and most of them are achieving their 3rd and 4th year within the 1st year.
Wow.
So it fast tracks your success. I've lived it, bro. I've lived it. How do you think I got 200 million views? How do you think I got in these documentary films and connect with the people that I do and have the lifestyle that I have? How do you think we live out, in Bali and get to travel the world? It's got to be the starting point, an epic, extraordinary vision. It has to be.
You know what's so crazy too? Like, I'm a big fan of like Conor McGregor's way of seeing like the law of attraction, because he sees it from so many different perspectives. And one of the things that he's always talking about, or after he won the title, they're like, how does it feel to finally win the title, blah blah. After all those years, he's like, normal. I've been here so many times. This is no different than I've seen it in my mind over and over. That's the big part about like the law of attraction and these things, is like when you've actually felt that colorful vision, it actually just is. There is no I'm going after something. It just is. And you act and behave in accordance to that, because that is who your identity is. And if you know your identity is someone who's built, addicted, or whatever, you've already seen it in your mind. That means you're gonna get up right away because you are that guy. And this is what people miss out with that law of attraction. They kind of think about the thing, but they don't actually be the thing, because they don't believe it's a possibility. So they just kind of like push it out there. But you're talking about a colorful, real, sexy, that is who I am vision that's so strong that you can't resist taking the action.
Well, there's really two parts. Like you mentioned the law of attraction. And I get it. It's like the law of attraction is you got to match the frequency of that in order to be able to get it, right? We visualize it, we make it so real in our mind that you can. Bob Proctor says it best. He says, if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. I love that. And Bob and I hung out on set of We Rise Up, the movie.
So cool, man. He's one of my favorite.
Dalai Lama and Richard, and we had so many incredible conversations. And one of them, actually, one topic that we really need to touch on is faith. Like, faith needs to be sprinkled throughout your vision, because we don't 100% know every single turn. And people are probably watching this asking, oh, okay, now we're at this point. That's what I wanted to ask. It's like, what if it's not, completely like everything that I've written in my vision? And that's cool. Like, I've had some things catch me on the blind side. I've had like doors open that I never expected to open that have been even better. But the whole key is like, what's the alternative? Don't cast a vision and keep doing what you do, or at least cast it and start moving in the direction you want to go, And that's why I'm like, people try and challenge me on it. I'm just like, cool, man. You keep living your life without your vision and see what everybody else it does. There's a massive difference, and it turns you into a leader. Tells you a leader, you know where to go. It's like you have intention in your life, and that's what the other part of the vision piece is the law of intention, which is set it and get it. Now you have a strategy. Now you have a game plan. Now, like, if you understand what the big picture is, the smaller pieces start moving in the right direction.
Man.
You know, even Albert Einstein, he had a vision, man. Like people say, what did he create? He had a vision when it came to numbers and math. He went on a hunt for a creature called X.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna find this creature.
Yeah.
Right? He had a big understanding of like what he expected it to be in some way. He didn't always reach what he expected, but he started moving in a direction that allowed him to find these incredible new theories and things that just like blew the world's mind away.
Yeah.
And he held that at the forefront of his mind. He held it in the prefrontal cortex, and then he hammered it into his unconscious. Like this became like part of his nature. And that's what we need to do, is we need to make it part of our nature. Like the vision is like oozing out of me. It's like moving me in that direction. And you know, not only that, man, I keep God in my prayers too, and it's just like, God, guide me in this too. Like, give me the science, give me the visions, give me the direction, give me the inspiring moments that I need to be inspired by. Show me revelations in the things that I read so that I can piece this together to really make it epic. Like, we're guided by something bigger than we understand.
Man, so like it's so cool how you're explaining this, because you're breaking it down from so many different perspectives and different angles. Yeah. Like the influencing yourself from the inside, you know, and then casting that vision, having that serious intention behind it, but then having that faith sprinkled within it, and then being able to push that vision out so other people see that vision and catch onto that and want to be a part of it, which is influence, right? So it's like you're influencing yourself, and the influence becomes so strong that you become influential because of who you become. Yeah. And that's so powerful. And this is why I'm coming to the, you know, Elevate event, because I see what you guys have done, and I see it's not just it's not just a one-dimensional thing. You're coming at this from like a multi-dimensional angle, and I see all the different parts of it, and I being around that energy because of the vision that you've painted for us for that event and what's going to happen is like why I'm going to be attending. So if you can just hit a little bit about what Elevate is and why you guys started, I would love that.
Well, you know, you said influence, right? So let's look at this. Certainty breeds influence. So if you get really clear on your vision, when you start being a man or a woman of your word, right? You've written it down in your vision, and you go, you know what? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to follow through. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like I said, but you take one step and you're like, oh, you cross that out in your vision. You take the next step, oh, you cross that out in your vision. And then, by the way, the vision process is you start with your 10th year and get so excited about it, write all out in detail, and then you go, what did I have to do in the 9th to get to the 10th, the 8th to get to the 9th, the 7th to the 8th, and so on, all the way back to this current day. So you're getting this like pretty well-rounded view of what steps you need to take in order to get you to the highest version of you, right? But like when you're making those steps and you're progressing, what you're doing internally to you, and this is the most important piece of the vision process, is you are starting to trust yourself because you're a man or a woman of your word. And what is trust? Trust is security within you. You start to become less insecure, which means you stop comparing to other people because you realize you have your own lane that you're playing in. You start standing strong in the things that you need. You start believing in the detail of what your mission is. You start aligning yourself with your purpose and stop saying yes to things that you really want to say no to. You're no longer betraying yourself now. Yeah. You're starting to really be in alignment with the things that you need, and you stop distracting yourself. You start paying attention. You start using what I call black hole focus, right? You just tunnel in, right? And then what happens is you're increasing every time you take a step and you execute on the thing that you said you're going to do. You start increasing your certainty. And the more certain you are, the more convicted you are when you speak, the more clearly you can convey your vision to the world, and the right people start showing up. So then you start to become more influential. This is how it works, man.
Yeah,
I know
man,
it.
this is so powerful. Yeah.
And I see people living it that do it, man. Like I see them, like one of the dudes ran up to me on the beach the other day in Bali. I coached him a couple years ago. This guy was like literally killing it. He's like 5 years into his vision within like a year and a half. And he's like, dude, this stuff works. I'm like, yes, of course it works. Yeah. You know, and he's got the conviction, like it's shifted him internally. And I see people that come to our events, like when you have a vision, you have faith that there's something greater to work towards. When you don't have it, what do you have? Do you know what I mean? Like it becomes tough, man. You can have some other things you can lean on, and we have spiritual beliefs, which is absolutely important, man. I used to work my ass off, and I was spiritually bankrupt until I had to step more into my spirituality. And I think that a lot of people are always like searching. They're very lost. And so when you have this vision and you have the values that you align yourself within it, on point. You know what you need to believe about yourself in order to execute this vision. Every year in, year out, you have the habits that you need to commit to, and you know the skills that you need to either hire or acquire to make it happen. Now you start walking with conviction. Now you start executing, and things start to unfold, and it starts taking you down this incredible path, and you're mission filled. Like, to feel mission filled is just like this thing on a whole new level. And when we bring people into our events, the ones that don't have the vision, you should see the shift, man. When they step out of the room on the 4th day and they're holding it in their hand, I tell them all, I said, get yourself a special book. Get yourself like a notebook that's, even if you spend $50, $100, like a super epic notebook. That
I do that with an epic book and an epic pen, just because I believe so deep in the value of this.
Special, it's exclusive, it's yours.
Or like Leonardo da Vinci, when Bill Gates bought his notebook for like $30 million, and he bought that because he knew the intention, all the things that came behind this notebook and these ideas. It was so much more than a notebook, you know?
Yeah, and I bet he leveled up.
100%.
Because he had it, and he's like, this thing here holds something that I know, like,
because
I can
of
step into
because
too.
of what the observation and the things that he put towards it. He saw it differently than someone else who saw a piece of paper and writing.
Yep. Dude, if you knew your potential, you'd fall over backwards. Like, seriously, like to know what's possible. And we were talking about it before, how like Grant Cardone, you know, he's a good friend of mine. We support each other in many different ways with our content, and I've interviewed Grant quite a few times on the Addicted to Success podcast.
Yeah, which I'll link one of those interviews below,
For
because it's one of the
hilarious.
funniest interviews. And I watched that back in the day, and I was like, this is just the best.
Uncle G, he's like, dude, man, I spoke at an event in San Diego, and I hadn't met him in person for years. Like, this is the first time I met him in person. He was speaking at the event as well. He's one of the other speakers. And I saw him in the back, like in the hallway, talking to some of his fans. And I come up behind him and I go, dude, are you addicted to success? And he turns around and he's like, dude. And he grabs me and he's trying to tackle me to the ground. I didn't realize he's shorter, man. Like, I'm 6'1", 6'1.5". He's like up to like my shoulder. And that dude is just so full of energy. But the thing I really love about Grant is he is a man of his word. Yeah. Like, we were talking about that whole vision. He's got a vision, man. It's an epic vision. Like, this vision is astronomical. It's an astronomical vision. And recently he said he's going to fill an arena with 30,000 people, and he did it. And I said, someone asked me if I'm going to go, and I said, I've already learned one of the biggest lessons, and that's when I saw Grant say that he was going to do it and heard him say that, he went and did it. Like, that's, to me, I'm inspired.
That's like the whole 4-minute mile, right? It's like Roger Bannister runs the 4-minute mile, and then everyone else starts running the 4-minute mile like it's nothing.
Turn the extraordinary into a new norm, right? Yeah. And the thing is, like, I'm not going to go out there and create an event with 30,000 people. With our Elevate events out here in Bali, we like to keep it to, 50, 60, 100, 200. We're not going to go over that, because there are a lot of events out there, not Grant specifically, but there are a lot of events out there where they can be very much so conference style, inspirational. Which that's half of it, right? Because it's like, people get up, they share their story, and there'll be some things that you hear and you go, oh, cool, I could achieve that too. And then you set out, you start modeling after them. We do transformation. So there's inspiration and transformation. Transformation is feeling it on a cellular level. It's waking your body up. It's feeling it emotionally. It's creating a shift within. And it's done through experiential exercises. It's done getting up into groups. It's turning you into a leader in that moment, because you're in the uncomfortable. And the fact that people fly in from all over the world to come to this event means that they're already investing and putting skin in the game. And something happens to you on a subconscious level when you say, I'm ready to put down a couple thousand or 2,500, and then I'm willing to put down some money on some flights and some accommodation, that I need to pay for, and then to go to a country I've never been to before, and you might not know people there yet. Like, that's like 4 or 5 levels of commitment. People say, sometimes when we talk to them, they say, I'm interested. I go, you interested or committed? Because interested is drawing a line in the sand. I'm about drawing a line in the cement in everything I do. That's why I achieve a high level of success, and you do too, right? So when they do that and they get on the plane and they come out to Bali, this place, as you know, because you live here too, it's magnetic, man. It's magic. It has something about it that is just, it is a catalyst for creation. It's inspiring, right? There's so much variety, and you can get into awesome routine. It's epic. But for them to come out into that new space, they've left their old environment. They've stretched their mind to a capacity it's never stretched before, and it will never go back. And so many of these people that come out here, you see them, they become business partners, friends, they travel together, they extend their trips here in Bali.
It's happened to me so many times at these events. No, everything you're saying. And when I started to commit to these things, here's what like the true transformation was. It was that I committed to myself.
Of course.
And that was the difference.
Of course.
The events themselves, yes, the networks, the this, that. But the reason that I actually got something from the events is because I came as a leveled up person. Because just committing in general and doing all those steps to get there changed me.
Yep.
And then once I got there, I was a different person activating at the event, meeting these people, and then they look at you, wow, you also are this type of person who's committed to themselves. So now you have this group of people who've all committed to themselves, and now, oh, here's my vision, here's my vision. Here, oh, here's how I can connect you here. Here's and this is real relationship building, like deep level connections. You don't go to, I go to regular business events back in the day, and everyone just hands business cards. It's me, 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 me. It's not about transformation. It's about how can I get. And when you're in the how can I get mindset, you push away everything.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I get money? It's like, well, money in and of itself has no intrinsic value whatsoever. It's paper. What if I say, how can I give value?
Yeah.
Well, people change their money for value, right? So it's just like a complete flip-flop. And that's the same with these events. It's not about how can I go to an event and get something. It's like, how can I commit to myself right now? And then how can I actually go give of myself at the event?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, look, man, I feel this, and I used to be one of those guys that sat in the back of the room and hid with thousands of other people around me. You know, and when you start doing it in a room where it's intimate, and you know, like you said, like it's like you going into someone recently was like, you got VIP tickets. I'm like, if you're there, you're already VIP. If you commit. You know, and you know, I'm not even to even plug the event in any way. Like, think about that. Like, put yourself in VIP in every area of your life. Put yourself in MVP in every area of your life. You know what I mean? Do that, because like that has to be a belief in you when you step into that space, and knowing. I remember at the Think and Grow Rich movie premiere, Bob Proctor was there, and he said something so profound. He said, I don't think I've ever stepped into something 100% believing that I'm going to do it. He said, I may be 40%, maybe 20%, 50%, but he said, I build the rest of the belief on the way. And some people, when they say like, I can't make it to the event, and I'll ask why. Like, you'll be like, okay, what's your concern, right? And they'll talk about, oh, you know, I feel like maybe I'm gonna, and I'll go, well, how do you know? If you're 40%, where do you think you're gonna get the other 60 or the 50%? Is it gonna happen just by yourself in the environment where you are, or is it gonna happen when you get yourself out of the comfort zone?
Yeah, through the experience.
Dude, nothing in my experience of my career has ever been great where I've just stayed comfortable. Like some of the biggest turning points in my life and pinnacle moments where I felt like my life was falling apart was where my greatest lessons lied.
Yeah. Man, that'd be like going into the gym or like wanting to build muscle without like going through the pain of breaking it down, right? Or in
lifting styrofoam weights. I read in a book recently, it's like lifting styrofoam weights and expecting to get big. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, but it's like people want to get there without going through those things, and it's so interesting because those things are what build you into who you need to become. So it's like, I think it just needs to be a flip-flop in the mind, and as soon as you make that switch, and when I'm at the gym, I can't wait to hit that last rep where I feel that burn, and then you start to apply that same principle to other areas, and that doesn't mean like pain. It's not painful for me anymore at the gym. Some people call it pain. It was pain at first. Now it's like, it feels good because I've changed my mind. Same with the ice bath. I don't want to get into it. When I get in there, it's kind of like painful, but it's not actually painful anymore. It's switched. So these things change over time.
And the thing too, the funny thing about the ice bath is you're not determining how the weight of the pain. You've got to sit in it. That's the thing that, because at the gym you're determining the weight of pain. Whereas in the ice bath, you just got to sit, and that's the thing, you got to breathe through it. Everything in life, man, that I feel has been painful or uncomfortable, I breathe myself through it all the time, and I always get through.
So we are gonna have to close this out because it's getting dark, and you guys might not be able to see us anymore. But man, thank you so much for this. And guys, if people want to attend your Elevate event, what can they do? Because I'll put a link in the description here. I know it's a pretty exclusive event, but maybe you can make it a little bit open for some of my followers.
For sure. Go to elevatetribe.net/Bali event, okay? And it's about applying. You know, it's an application process. We don't accept everyone, but we get on a call, we interview each person. This is how we keep quality in the tribe, and we get people that are coachable and ready to play all out, connected and in the room together, and that's the key.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for doing this, brother.
Thanks
and
for
thank
having
you.
me, bro.
And honestly, thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
everything. And thank you for everything you're doing.
Appreciate it, man.
It's amazing. Guys, subscribe, hit that notification button, leave a comment. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this interview, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.